Shalom, I'm BJ Walters, and thanks for joining me this evening for another episode of the Anchor to Messiah program right here on HRN Revive TV. Today's episode is titled, Don't Be Acclimated to the Noise, and this will be part 2. I know it's been a while since we were together, so be sure to check out part 1 and the HRN archives. So, in our last episode, we discussed how we as the people of Yahweh, or the church at large, have become complacent and comfortable in our spiritual walk, and even to a point that we have become somewhat desensitized to the world's agenda. It seems like nothing that we hear and see is surprising anymore, and there is no such thing as breaking news, because we as mere men have been nearly exposed to just about every unrighteous thing we see, hear, and read, whether that be social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. So, in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verses 9, it reads, "What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Is there a thing of which it is said, see, this is new? It has been already in the ages before us." So, just about every unrighteous thing that we have seen and heard has not been presented to us overnight, but has been gradually presented to us in a slow fade. And the system that we're living in today is slowly and gradually introducing these ungodly things in small measures. If I can put it this way, the American people have been groomed and are being groomed. This may sound crazy, but some people will spend more time trying to perfect evil rather than good. And the system that we know today is introducing these evil plans. And they have just one job, and that's to slowly acclimate the people that are not of their system to their system and to their environment. In other words, they want to control the environment, or environmentally control the people. And if we're not too careful, we can become acclimated to our surroundings and not even be aware of it. As we have heard it said, as long as they don't bring their agenda to me, then personally, I'm okay, which we all know that is the wrong mindset, and I am guilty of that. But we obviously know that these evildoers are trying to act as the creator and create an evil space for all people so that we can all coexist, as Bill Cloud would say. Obviously, they want to build their own tower to the heavens, if you will. So, in order to do so, they begin to do what the enemy has been doing since the very beginning, and that is to hustle the people with evil propaganda by trying to conform us to their agenda into their system. However, I choose not to take the venom, and I will not comply with the enemy. In Romans chapter 12 verses 2, Paul writes, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what is good, pleasing, and perfect will of God." That's why it's so important that we put on the full armor of Yahweh daily, so that we can stand firmly against the wiles of the enemy. The adversary is still lurking around while quietly and divisively putting together evil plans that causes disunity and disagreement among people. So, including myself, we have to pay attention to our surroundings by putting our head on a swivel so that we may discern what's good or evil, and to test and distinguish the spirits that are before us, because I truly believe that discernment is one of the most profitable gifts that we need to operate in as we are approaching the end of days. And if we aren't, then we will be easily hustled into anything that comes our way. And Yeshua made it very clear that even the elect will be deceived. And I surely don't want to be the one the enemy is trying to hustle, and him hustling me. I think whatever he is presenting to me looks and smells and tastes like righteousness, but rotting with evil and corruption from within. we have to know what right looks like, and we better know what evil looks like as well. And we all know that when good people are plentiful, evil acts can also become more prevalent. One has to outweigh the other. They can't be equally the same on the scales. We just got to be sure we know what evil looks like, and the same goes for righteousness. And Romans chapter 5 and verse 20, Paul states that where sin abounded, grace abounded all the more. Meaning that even when sin is widespread, God's grace is even greater. So, as people of Yahweh, we must make sure that we are not unaware or caught off guard by what's going on around us, so that we don't become vulnerable to the enemy's plans, who is lurking around seeking who he can destroy. We all know that the enemy's mission is to cause us to quit and to be discouraged by giving up and throwing in the towel. And if we're not paying attention, the enemy can be very methodical and strategic with his plan. And he can win only if you allow him to, because his job is to get very, very loud and create havoc and noise in our ear, so that he drowns out the sound of truth within us. So, as I mentioned in the last episode, let's just suppose the enemy may have whispered in the ear of the woman in the garden, saying, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" And if so, if he did, and if he did whisper to the woman in the garden, it was the loudest echo in the history of the world when he whispered those words in her ear. And that voice of the enemy is still echoing today in the heart of man. And we can't allow that echo to become even louder in our lives. So, because it can destroy our lives. It has become the loudest whisper that can make one incognizant of the things around him. This noise can be so loud that it can affect the eye gates and the ear gates of man and cause him or her to go spiritually blind and become unaware of what state of mind he or she really is in. So, as I bring this session to a close, I want to share something. Harvard did a study on people who use cell phone devices, and I'm guilty. They said the last 30 minutes before we fall asleep and the first 30 minutes after we wake up, we Americans consume more content in that 1 hour than our great-grandparents did in a month. And I'll be the first to admit, just as I did earlier, I'm guilty. I believe that devices, social media, things like that causes distractions. They consume our time, and they're just not legitimate reasons, things that should take up a lot of our time. And like I said, I'm very guilty of that. And the podcaster went on to say that outside of Abraham's immediate family and those around him, he more than likely didn't know what was going on around the rest of the world. And because of that, Abraham was able to hear from the Father. He was able to shema, to hear what the Father had to say to him in a very clear voice, where today it's so loud that we can't hear that voice because we're so distracted by the things around us. And this study from Harvard shows us just how distracted we as people, we as humans have become, and how unfocused we can really become to a point that's very scary. And so, with all that being said, let's be like Abraham. Let's shema, let's hear. Because if we're not hearing, then we're being distracted. We're hearing something else. And the reason why we can't hear the voice of Yahweh is because of all the noise around us. It's that very loud whisper in our ears. So, to sum up this presentation, as I bring it to a close, don't let the whisper, that whisper of the enemy, drown out the voice of Yahweh, which can cause us to become acclimated to that noise that he brings to us. But rather, let the word of Yahweh within us overcome the noise of the enemy, so we're not acclimated to the noise that he is bringing to us and to our table. Amen. And as always, this will end this session. And as always, thank you for tuning in. And I hope you were able to glean something from this teaching. And until next time, shalom.